everyone. Welcome back inside Central Health Training Center for another episode of Broncos Now. As always, I'm your host, Sydney Jones. And coming up on today's episode, Hall of Famer Steve Atwater joins the show. We'll discuss the Broncos season opener, the Broncos-Raiders rivalry, and more. All that coming up. For today's episode of Broncos Now, we've got a special guest here inside the Broncos podcast studio, the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. Steve Atwater. Steve, appreciate you coming on the show today.
Hey, appreciate you allowing me on, Sid.
Absolutely. Always love having you on. How you doing, Steve? How you feeling?
I'm doing great.
Good?
I'm doing great, man. I'm getting anxious. I'm getting fired up to see if
I know the season
all this
is
hard
here.
work is paid off.
I know, it's crazy. Yeah, Steve, you've been out here at practice throughout training camp. You saw all the preseason games. How are you feeling about where this team is at right now?
I feel really good. They put a lot of work in it. They've really been working their tails off, right from mini camp all the way up to training camp. And the physicality is there.
Yeah.
The guys look like they're on the same page offensively, defensively. Now, we haven't seen the first team defense play a ton.
Mm-hmm.
They did get some reps, in the first couple of preseason games, but a game that we won, we haven't seen them play yet, and so this is going to be a big game for them to come out of the blocks hard and strong.
Definitely, especially going up against Josh Jacobs, Devontae Adams. Got a couple tough guys out there to defend.
Yeah, tough guys, but I think we have the roster. We got the guys with the character, and hopefully they can dig deep, and they want this victory extremely bad, as we do.
Exactly. Yeah.
I'm sure they want it more.
I'm sure they want it more.
That's
That's true. Well, Steve, they're kicking off the season hot, with the Las Vegas Raiders coming to town here at home, AFC West matchup. For you, when you think about when you were a player, did you like getting some of these divisional games kind of out of the way early on, or?
Well, it kind of depended. If we were playing well, and right at the beginning of the season, you really don't have any idea how well you're going to play, right? You're hoping you're going to play well. You think you got everything lined up, but
right.
Sometimes the other teams, they just come out ready to go, and they may catch you off guard or something. But I think for me personally, I would rather they be more, third, fourth game in the season before we start any of the division game, just so we could have a good idea of who we are, and especially we new offense, new defense,
right.
new special teams. Everything's kind of new. Although they've been practicing for quite a while, it's still relatively new. And again, guys playing a full game. They haven't done that in a while. I think they're in shape though, because they've been doing a ton.
Long physical practices.
Yeah, they're in shape,
for sure.
So it shouldn't be an issue. But I'm excited though. I'm really excited to see what they're going to do.
And it's nice to see, a lot of our starters, all of our starters, play in the preseason too. So kind of get that out of the way, get tackled a bit.
Yeah, because we didn't do that last year,
right.
and that was, I thought all of us felt that was a little bit strange that the guys were going to the regular season having really not taken anybody to the ground. So they got a chance to do that, got a chance to get dirty and have fun, and now it's time for business.
I know. Definitely is. Well, Steve, I did some research, so I want to take you back a little bit. Back in 1995, Steve, it was Mike Shanahan's first year as a head coach here with the Broncos. And back then, the Broncos had lost 6 straight to the Raiders, kind of same situation as now. That first matchup versus Las Vegas here in Denver, you guys won that game 27-0. Do you remember that game at all?
I have a lucky number, 27 there.
Yeah,
so.
That's true.
I have a few memories of that game. But the main thing that I remember Mike conveying to us was that we don't want to make this game any bigger than any other game. And that we want to look at Tim Brown as number 81. Not Tim Brown. He's not Tim Brown out there.
Right.
He's just number 81. And I think that's what we have to do as a team. Josh Jacobs now, he's not number 8. He changed his number from 28 to 8.
Oh,
he's not number 8.
right.
I'm sorry, he's not Josh Jacobs. He's just number 8.
He's number 8.
He's
right.
not that beast of a man that's that's number 28. He's just number 8. He's just another player out there on the field, and we got to go out there and do our jobs.
Right.
And when I looked at things like that, I looked at it differently. And the Jerry Rices, I wouldn't be like, oh man, I'm playing against Jerry Rice. He's just number 80. I got to go out there and do my job.
100%.
Yeah.
You think back at that time, they kind of broke that losing streak there versus the Raiders. And then following that game, Under Mike Shanahan, the Broncos went on to beat the Raiders 21 out of their next 28 games. So I'm not saying there's some parallels here, but maybe we're foreshadowing based on history.
Yes, I like that. I like that stat. And, this will be a great way to get the season started off on the right foot.
Right.
And I know Coach Payton didn't watch the CU Buffs game. I did. I watched a good part of it, and they came out strong. They shocked everybody, and I don't think it would be such a shock, but it would just give Broncos country a lot of feel good that I think they need at this point.
Definitely. How do you feel like, Steve, this game is going to set the tone for the rest of the season here?
Well, that's a good question. I think it can set the tone, especially if it's a positive game. We have a positive outcome from it. But I think even if the guys go out there and they look at the film and they say, hey, man, we made some mistakes, but, man, we were flying around. We were playing our butts off. We left it out there on the field.
You can see the passion.
Right. I think that can still you can still learn something from that. But if guys are loafing, which I don't think they're going to do under Sean Payton, that's not going to happen. Right. He'll make some changes and make it to where when they go out on the field, he's proud of them, and Broncos country is proud of them. So,
I like that. It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
Well, Steve, there wasn't any practice today here at Centura Health Training Center. There was practice yesterday, and of course, the guys will return to the practice field tomorrow on Wednesday. But something that Courtland Sutton said on Monday really kind of stood out to me. He was asked about Sean Payton's game plan, and obviously, it being Monday, they haven't really gotten to the game plan yet. But he said the early the early pieces that he's seen from it, he's really excited. And he's really excited to see what this offense is going to be able to do under Sean Payton. And I think all of us are just really excited. Like you mentioned, I mean, we only saw bits and pieces of it in the preseason.
Yeah, well, with the success that Sean Payton has had, and some of the receivers that have played for him who've had tremendous success. I'm sure Courtland's looking at that. It's like, look at his chops. Yes, I just want to get half of that, And again, we've seen these guys out here practicing hard, playing fast. Right. So it won't be something new. It won't be a whole new level of play once they step on the field. But I think the standard will be higher. I think they expect more out of themselves this year than they have in the past, and and hopefully we can have a little bit of luck on our side, because I think you always got to have a little bit of that as well for guys, staying healthy and also just flying around,
Yeah, we've seen Courtland Sutton. He had a really good camp out here the past month and a half. What are you hoping to see from him this season, Steve?
Well, the first thing is just to stay healthy, because when he's healthy, he's tough to deal with as a defender, and he's the kind of guy that he can block, he can catch, he can run, he can do all the things that you want him to do. He can go up and make the circus catches, the key catches in a game. And he's made some crazy catches out there. Yeah,
he really has.
And he's a great leader for this team, not only the offense, but as the whole unit. He leads the defensive guys, the special teams guys, and the offensive players. They look up to him and they respect him, not only because of the player he is, but also the way that he works.
Definitely, it will be interesting to see how this wide receiver room kind of shakes out, because, as you know, there's only 4 active wide receivers on the roster. And, of course, don't know Jerry Jeudy's status yet, but he's still dealing with that, hamstring injury.
Yeah, that's going to be tough, and they'll have to manage that, I'm sure. You never know. I mean, they may make one of the other receivers active for a game day, on the game day
roster
from the practice squad. But I think we have a talented group of athletes at that wide receiver position. And it's just going to be a matter of, hey, can we protect long enough to give them the ball? Can we get that run game going to where the play action pass can really make it a lot easier, because the linebackers bite up for the run, and guess what? It's a wide open space back behind. Right behind them, and so we got to do our job to kind of set all that up. Though we got to be successful at running the ball early on, and getting the high percentage passes completed. We got to the receivers got to make sure they're catching the balls they're supposed to catch, and Russ is putting the ball where the receivers can getting the ball out quickly. And the offensive line, they we spent a ton of money on that offensive line, and it's a lot of capital there, and they've played well throughout the preseason, and I'm anxious to see those guys work together. I know they are too. They're excited. They love working with each other, and I'm looking forward to them getting some push and this running game getting going.
Yeah, that offensive line seems like a tight-knit group for sure. Steve, we've talked about the offense now, so on the defensive side of things, what are your expectations for Sunday?
Well, to be great, like they've always been.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been dominant for several years. We added a couple of key pieces to the puzzle with Zach Allen coming over. Man, that was a player I really like watching him play, and to have him on our team now, it's something special. Drew Sanders, inside linebacker, University of Arkansas.
That's your guy.
He's a young player, and there's no disrespect, obviously, to Josie Jewell and Alex Singleton, but he's another piece to the puzzle, a guy that I don't think he's going to be starting right out of the gate, but at some point during the season, he's going to see the field significantly, and he may see the field significantly this week in some capacity, but I think his impact is going to be felt, and with the other guys that we have here, we have great leaders on the defense. Justin Simmons, DJ Jones. You got Randy Gregory on the edge. I'm not sure who's going to be at that other edge position. I'm not sure if it's going to be Frank Clark or if it's going to be Jonathan Cooper. But
Nick Bonito.
Yeah, Nick Bonito. Man, they've all had really good camps.
They really have.
And I'm anxious to see how Sean Payton is going to utilize them, and Vance Joseph is going to utilize them.
Yeah. You mentioned Drew Sanders. I think back to when Vance Joseph said during training camp, he said, no one out there makes a play like he does every single day. And that has just stuck in my head since then because it's so impressive, especially to hear from Vance Joseph. So I'm very interested to see how they use him this year. Yeah,
and it's like he not only gets there, but when he gets there, he's there.
Right.
It's not like just a little soft tap. He's going to make you feel it. Like, oh, wait a minute, man. Oh, that hurt a little bit.
Right. Well, Steve, it's an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. For Broncos fans who might not know, Steve will be on Broncos Now every single Tuesday. So if you guys have any questions for him, make sure to tweet at us.
Yep, send them in to us.
Get them
out there. Let us
comment
know.
on this video. We'll answer them every single week. Steve, thanks for coming on today.
Thanks for having me.
And Broncos fans, don't forget, Paramount Plus is your streaming home for every local NFL on CBS game this season. Visit ParamountPlus.com to start your free trial and stream Russell Wilson and the team as they battle the league's best. Plus, get an all-access pass to 24/7 NFL content with CBS Sports HQ, Fantasy Football Today, NFL Slime Time, and more. And this year, Paramount Plus is your streaming destination for Super Bowl 58. Another action-packed Broncos season with NFL on CBS awaits, so stream Paramount Plus from any device all season long. Well, that'll do it for today's episode of Broncos Now, Broncos Country. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'll meet you right back here on the Broncos Podcast Network and YouTube tomorrow for another episode. See you all then.